Guys, we're going back to Disney and we can't wait. And I'm going to tell you all about how we're doing it on a budget. Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. We're the MapleBrits. I'm Jade, and as the intro said, we're going back to Disney. This is something that we really didn't think we'd be able to do for a good couple of years. Actually, this year we were looking at potentially going to Disneyland Paris. It's not something that Matt has done before. I went actually went in the millennium year, so like 19 years ago now. We definitely haven't been together, but we were looking at the costs, and then we thought we'd see what we could do on a budget to go to Disney Florida. So the one part of the trip that we have no real control over the cost is the Disney tickets themselves. Those of you who have been before, it's a pretty much set price, but we were looking at the cost for the tickets, and at the moment, and I think it's a pretty ongoing offer, particularly if you're in the UK, Disney offer you 14-day ticket for the price of 7. So whether you're going for a week or 2 weeks, it is actually the same cost. It's just over £350 per person. So for the two of us, it's just costing over £700. But that's one part of the cost that we really have no control over. Either we pay it or we don't. I know there are kind of other ticket sellers out there, but we've always gone directly through Disney. When we went last year, we stayed in a 2-bedroom apartment in a bit of a gated community just off the 192 highway, right by that Walmart. So those of you who've been before, you should know that Walmart just off the highway there. So we stayed there, but in all honesty, we really didn't make the most of the apartment that we'd booked. Like I say, it was 2-bedroom apartment. We got 2 bathrooms, we got a full kitchen, beautiful kind of living area, TV, sofas, little patio outside. There was a gym and a swimming pool area in the complex, which we didn't even go to once. Like I say, full kitchen, all the appliances, and we only really got to the apartment and kind of spent time there sleeping. I think we had one morning when we were just really tired, so we chilled out and kind of caught up with family, and watched a bit of TV. We had probably a couple of evening meals there, but mostly that was either a quick pizza from the Walmart or some leftovers that we'd had from a previous night's meal. We had breakfast there most days, but it was just kind of cereal, toast, croissants, those kind of things. So we really didn't make the most of the apartment and kind of the price that we paid. So this year when we were looking at it, we wanted to do things as cheaply as possible. So we've actually found a really good deal through a website called LoveHolidays. Bit of backstory: when we were initially looking at going this year, trying to see what was available and see what prices there were around, we came across a hotel called the Red Lion. Again, it's right off that 192. In fact, it's just the opposite side of the Walmart to where our complex was last year. So we know that area really well. We know what's available. We know how far it is to the parks and everything like that. So it's kind of prime location, but it's also a familiar location for us, which is, again, really valuable. But yeah, the Red Lion, just off the 192. We've watched a couple of other YouTubers who have done kind of reviews and tours around the hotel. It looks fine, kind of reasonable rooms. There is a pool and everything available. There's a restaurant on site as well. But for us, our top priorities were, as long as it was safe, clean and comfortable, we're not going to be there that long. We're going to Disney, so we're going to maximise our time in the parks and only really come back to catch a few hours sleep, and maybe just relax every now and again. So in terms of cost, again, when we were looking this probably about a week ago, seeing what was available, we were finding that this hotel was available for about £32 a night, which for right close to Disney is an insane deal. So overall it would probably be about £350 for the two of us for the 11 nights that we're going. In comparison to how that compares to the apartment that we stayed in, again, we were there for 11 nights last year and we probably paid upwards of £800 last year for the apartment. Again, it was beautiful, and I think if we'd have had family with us as well, it would have been ideal, because there was that 2nd bedroom and a washer and dryer and all the amenities that you need. But like I say, for us this year, we're on a budget. we're going to do it as cheaply as we can. So £32 a night seems spot on for us. So we needed a couple of days just to kind of think about it, check our finances and see whether we could get the time off work, most importantly. But then when we came back to book the hotel, I don't know whether it was those internet gremlins or whatnot, but the price had shot up and we were kind of sat there looking at each other thinking, well, what are we going to do? And came across a website called LoveHolidays. Not come across them before, but they were able to kind of price match that original cost that we'd seen. So £32 a night for 11 nights. Kind of snapped it up as soon as I saw it, and booked it all ready for us to go. So yeah, we're looking forward to kind of seeing what it's all about. When we'd driven past a few times again last year on our honeymoon, it looked like it was having some renovation work done, so hopefully it'll be kind of clean and fresh, and like I say, we're only really going to be going there to sleep anyway and kick our shoes off at the end of a busy park day. So we've got the park tickets, we've got the accommodation, we just need to get there. So for us, when we start to look at flights, there's a few places that we kind of go to for flight options. The first, we'll leave a link down below as well. So there's a website called Jack's Flight Club and it is awesome. There's a free and a paid for version, and we're on the free version purely because we don't fly that often, so we don't need kind of as many deals coming through. But the free version, you get 1 or 2 emails a week kind of giving you either loophole deals or sales for airlines, just really kind of highlighting some of the most cost-effective flights out there. We actually used Jack's Flight Club to book our flights last year, so we spotted a deal come through from London to Miami last year, which we flew direct to, and yeah, the cost was insane. So we booked those immediately, and we actually emailed Jack afterwards, and he was super happy that we'd be able to book our honeymoon with him. So thanks, Jack. So yeah, definitely recommend kind of signing up to the weekly emails if you're a regular flyer and kind of looking for worldwide deals on flights. Definitely recommend the premium version, but for us, like I say, we don't fly that often, so it's not as vital. But this year we hadn't seen any kind of deals or offers come through. So we went to our second go-to place for flights, which is Skyscanner. That is a comparison site. It kind of trawls through the various airlines and comes up with the different options for you. So this year we went on there and looking at the dates that we're going out, there was a couple of good deals that we saw, and to be honest, that was the initial reason that we started to think, let's do Disney on a budget. So yeah, the original flights that were coming through, I think it was kind of Thomas Cook, Virgin and TUI were the 3 airlines that were kind of consistently the cheapest, and we were more than happy to fly from any UK airport really. Birmingham is the closest airport to us. It's just under an hour away, so that would have been ideal, but it didn't seem like there was much coming through from there. Manchester, and we'd be happy with London as well. But we were looking, and Manchester direct to Orlando came up, and the cost was pretty decent actually. We were looking at kind of £370-ish a person. So again, similar to the hotel, we kind of sat on it for a few days, made sure that we could get the time off work, and then when we came to book it, the price was still the same, which was great. So we went to click through, and kind of this big notice came on the screen saying that the flights didn't include any hold luggage. It just included hand luggage kind of put in the cabin with you as you fly. So obviously there's restrictions on size and weight and kind of what you can take with you in terms of that. And for us, we wouldn't have been able to go for 11 days just on hold luggage. It would have been possible, but it would have been a push. So we definitely needed at least 1, ideally 2 pieces of luggage. So then when we looked at the cost to kind of add those pieces of luggage on afterwards, the cost was just increasing and increasing, and we were kind of thinking, we can't do this anymore. We did have a moment, again, we looked at each other going, we can't do this. But I went on a bit of an internet dive and see what I could find, and again with LoveHolidays, with the hotel that we were looking at, there was an option to add flights, and this is not a sponsored video at all, but there was an option to add some flights on, so I thought, well, let's see what they offer and go from there. So I went through that and again put in all our kind of criteria, and it came up with the option to fly with Virgin from Manchester Airport direct to Orlando. Now, we flew with Virgin when we went on our honeymoon last year. We flew from London direct to Miami, but we actually upgraded our flights at the airport. Again, we were on our honeymoon, kind of no expense spared. We wanted to have the best time ever, so we paid that initial extra cost last year to get kind of those perks, the priority boarding, the welcome drinks, extra legroom, all that. But this year we're on a tight budget, so we know that that's not an option. But yeah, we had a great experience with Virgin last year, so I'm more than happy to fly with them again. I'm not the biggest fan of flying, so for me, as long as it's kind of as direct as possible, I'm not one to be okay with kind of multiple flights in order to fulfill the journey. For me, it has to be kind of direct and straight there. So yeah, to get a direct flight from Manchester, which for us is our next nearest airport, is kind of ideal. And as I went through that option, it came up with a price. It was more than the original cost of £370 that we'd originally seen, but these flights included hold luggage, and once we kind of compared the two, so booking direct with Virgin with that cost and then adding the bags on afterwards, compared to the cost that we're now paying, and which is about £430 each for a return flight, it's a no-brainer. We decided to package everything together and kind of go through LoveHolidays for both our accommodation and our flights. And the only other thing we're really considering at this stage, obviously as we get into kind of organising it in much more detail, getting closer to the time, is kind of travel and transportation once we're there. Again, last year we were doing a road trip, so we had hired a car. We actually got a free double upgrade on the car because it was our honeymoon, which was lovely. But this year we decided we don't need to hire a vehicle. It's just an additional cost that we don't really need. We had great experience last year going from our accommodation to the parks using Uber and Lyft. I say a great experience. We had a great experience with Uber. Lyft, not so much. We had a couple of very strange experiences with that. We'll go into that in another video. But yeah, Uber, always reliable, got us from point A to point B with a reasonable cost. We obviously then didn't have the cost of parking, which is an additional kind of charge on the parking fees. So yeah, we've decided we're going to do everything by Uber this year, from the hotel, from the airport to the hotel, and then from the hotel to the parks, and then anywhere else we want to go. I'm definitely eyeing up a trip to the mall to go to the Cheesecake Factory. So yeah, we'll be doing all that by Uber. So hopefully this video has given you some ideas of places that you can start to look if you're looking to do Disney on a budget. We've got it at a fairly reasonable price. Obviously it's still going to be fairly expensive, but for us to go for 11 nights, 10 full days at Disney, flying direct from Manchester to Orlando with Virgin and staying in a 3-star hotel just off the 192, so 10 minutes away, we're currently looking at a price of just under £2,000, which for us is a good deal. Like I say, there's some elements of the trip that we have no control over. So those Disney park tickets, you either pay it or you don't. So for us, that's a vital element. And then the others, we've really done some digging around to try and find the best deal possible for us for this time of year. So hopefully you'll agree we've done a reasonable job at keeping costs to a minimum. If you've got any other tips or tricks, definitely comment them down below. Make sure that you subscribe and keep up to date with our planning over the next couple of months, and then we'll be doing vlogs as well. from our trip. So we'll bring you along with us, and we really can't wait to go. So we're on the countdown, and yeah, come along on the journey with us. Thanks so much, and we'll see you again soon.